everybody to a fireside chat. I'm Costa Hassapopolis, the Vice President of Sales Enablement and Strategy for Infinidat Lenovo. And I'm here with Eric, and I'll let Eric introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Eric Herzog, CMO of Infinidat, a Lenovo company.
We're getting these names right recently, Eric. You know, is it Infinidat, Lenovo company? We're all new to this, but we're very excited to be part of Lenovo. So with that said, the topic of today is a brief topic that's because of the world's environment of the supply chain issues for DRAM and just semiconductors in general. We're seeing a lot of challenges in the market today. And I'll turn it over to you, Eric, to kind of get the market dynamics. But the topic of this is because of these market dynamics, we may see a little bit of a, back to the future or future back, in that this hybrid technology may be coming back in a strong way and may be very economically feasible for a lot of our customers for many reasons. So with that said, Eric, what's your take on the current marketplace and the environment that we're seeing out there today?
Well, as many of the customers have read, whether that be in the IT press or in the general press, for data infrastructure technology and all technology that exists in data centers, there is a dramatic shortage of components. And what that means is with the rise of the AI application base and just generic, the amount of data that's being stored overall, there's a real shortage of the components, whether that be flash, DRAM, storage itself, right? The hard drives and the flash that could go into a storage system. And that impacts not only the storage world, which is what, of course, we at Infinidat focus on, but also servers and networking. So this supply issue is hitting everybody, which means longer wait times. And also, as you talked already, large increases in cost to the end user base for the components they need in their data centers.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy out there, and it doesn't look like there's real end in sight in the foreseeable future. So big challenges. And I think one of the things that we're seeing out in the marketplace, Eric, your thoughts on this, is we're seeing now, because the major demand is of the silicon-based stuff, right? The DRAM, NAND, and all that. I think we're seeing out in the marketplace that an all-flash array relative to a hybrid-based disk-based array can be sometimes 2 to 3+ times more expensive in all flash, as well as even harder to get that technology. What are some of the things you're hearing out there?
So what we've seen both from our customers and our channel partners that service us, remember the bulk of our customers are the Fortune 1000 type accounts, is one, long supply chain, long waits, okay? Second thing we've seen is those cost differentials. Hybrid arrays often can fill the need, particularly with Infinidat, because of what we do with our neural cache technology, can meet the needs of about 75% of the all-flash arrays used in primary storage, but getting a hybrid. So A, it's not only less expensive, but also the lead time on the hard drive side, while longer than historical, is much less of a lead time than flash. So when the hybrid array will deliver the performance, and again, 75% of the time for primary storage, our all hybrid array will deliver that of an all flash array, you can get it sooner and you can get it for a lower cost.
So Eric, take a second and explain our architecture in general, irrespective of an all flash or a hybrid, and what makes us unique. And then we'll talk later about the uniqueness of the hybrid.
So basically, everything we do, we use off-the-shelf componentry at Infinidat. It's built around our Infuse OS, our operating system, which controls everything. Autonomous automation, an element, InfiniSafe for cybersecurity. But when you're talking about managing the data, it's our InfiniRAID and our neural cache technology. Now, specifically neural cache, what it allows us to do, and it's got multiple patents, tens of patents, in fact, neural cache allows us to, most of the time, 95% or better, come out of DRAM. And DRAM is faster than a hard drive, and DRAM is faster than flash. So by doing that, it allows us to have a hybrid array that it is equal to performance of about 75% of the all-flash arrays. And when it isn't, we have our own award-winning all-flash array, which delivers 35 mics of latency or better for high transactional workloads. So it is the fastest all flash array. So we can meet either need independent. The value of the hybrid, though, is the supply chain issue and the cost issue. You get it faster, you get it less expensively than all flash. By the way, we have a unique technology called SSA Express, which is in our hybrid because our hybrid does have some flash in it. And you could pin certain applications to only run in that layer. So when you really have to have flash for that workload, we can actually make that work in a hybrid. So it gives a lot of benefit, but that's all based off our InfuseOS software technology, allows us to deliver that in hybrid or all flash configurations.
So we're seeing our customers and partners, what I'm hearing from our field is that they're getting a lot of requests from customers to potentially look at, what about hybrid versus all flash? And I think, Eric, we're seeing that in two places, not just for primary storage or the primary applications, but also for secondary applications. And I think when we look at alternatives, typically primary storage, most people are using some sort of all flash with TLC type flash technology. And in primary storage, while we sell majority of that in secondary storage for hybrid, the competitor there has been more of the QLC, which is the same issue of price and all the supply chain issue that we had before. So as we see these technologies, we're seeing customers say, maybe this hybrid thing can be really good for me from a timing and a cost perspective. What have you been hearing?
Absolutely. Both for primary application workloads, we have a performance test paradigm that we can use for those workloads and tell you, hey, hybrid is going to absolutely give you the performance you need. And by the way, you have two workloads that didn't, but those two workloads, you could use our SSA Express in the hybrid. If you really need all flash, guess what? We've got some small form factor all flash that reduces the power and cooling budget, so you can satisfy it that way as well. On the secondary storage side, it's our neural cache technology. That neural cache technology delivers, again, 90%, 95% coming out of DRAM. So we can dramatically shorten the backup window. And as you know, when you're doing in that backup window, your servers and your applications slow down. So shortening that improves the performance of your overall application base. Then on the recovery time, of course, if you had an incident and you need to recover something, you want it to be as fast as possible. And again, when you're recovering data from your backup workload, again, that neural cache technology allows us to dramatically increase the speed at which you can recover data. So you get a win when you're doing the backup. We can shorten that backup window, reducing the impact on your applications. And if you really do need to recover something, we can recover it much faster, both due to our neural cache technology.
I was working with some of our very smart technical folks for our existing customer base. And what was interesting, Eric, is a lot of those customers who actually have our hybrids today and our all flashes, they know the performance of both and what they're getting. And they're seeing, while I want all flash, maybe I can't afford it now, or I want to do an alternative because of the supply chain issues. It's much easier for them to address it because they have both technologies. And what we were seeing is the typical hybrid user for us in their primary workloads are seeing, in the hybrid world, probably millisecond to 2 millisecond, somewhere in there, typical latencies, right? They could see it for key applications going down into 400 or 500 microseconds, at times. But what's interesting, as you said, is you contrast that to our all flash, which is very consistent low level performance, sub 200, 300 microseconds, all the way down to 35 microseconds, very, very low consistent latency. But you mentioned something very interesting, that SSA Express, what allows us on our hybrid to take some key applications that could really benefit from all flash and turn that hybrid array effectively into an all flash array for that customer. So they get the best of both worlds. What I also like, and again, it's easier to do that to our existing customers that have both, but you mentioned something really unique, is that we have some tools that we can gather information on a customer's environment and bring it back. Maybe tell us what we do. Tell me a little bit about how we do that, and what's the value to our prospects or our customers.
Well, so first of all, it'd be remiss if I didn't point out that we guarantee our performance in writing. So once we profile that application base, we know whether it's going to be fine with a hybrid because, again, of what Neural Cache delivers. We can tell you, okay, it really needs all flash, but of course we can solve that in the hybrid case. If you've got only a couple workloads, we can run with SSA Express. So you don't need an all flash because, as you pointed out, we're delivering all flash array performance with a hybrid array because of the SSA Express software. So what we do is we take a look at your workloads, we profile them application by application. You tell us what the anticipated SLAs that you need are. We then can tell you, oh, that hybrid will be fine for that. Remember, due to neural cache and our technology, we are 90 to 95% coming out of DRAM, which is faster than flash, whether it's our flash or anyone else's flash. So there are many times with a hybrid array, and again, what we've seen from our customer base and what our channel partners are telling us as well, 75% of the time, our hybrid will deliver the performance that they need for that primary storage workload. So the few times that it doesn't, they may need an all flash array. And then there's that in between where it's only one or two workloads and we can put on SSA Express because our hybrid arrays do have a flash layer as well. So we can hit all three needs on the primary storage side. You really need all flash? We got that. Award winning, fastest in the industry. You've got only a couple workloads that absolutely have to come out of flash, use SSA Express. And for many of the workloads, even though they're primary storage, because of neural cache uniqueness, we can be coming out of DRAM, giving you 75% of the time the performance of an all-flash array without using SSA Express or using an all-flash. Point is, we give you this choice. And once we profile the workloads, we can tell you exactly what's going to work for you. And that's the magic of what we deliver with our Infuse OS and our neural cache technology. We know when it has to be flash, when it can be flash-like performance using SSA Express, or when a hybrid array is going to be more than adequate to deliver performance. And regardless of any of those three, we will guarantee it in writing once we profiled your workloads for you.
So Rick, one of our key plays from the dawn of Infinidat has been consolidation. Can you put a little context about consolidation as it relates to all flash and or hybrid?
So obviously with pricing being astronomical, and getting the storage you need taking a lot longer. If you can buy less of it, you save money by consolidating. One of our Fortune 500 customers, 288 floor tiles of all flash to 61 with us. That means they bought less and they got it faster because you didn't need to wait for all 288 floor tiles worth of flash. Same thing, if you could consolidate that to a hybrid, you reduce the price even further, right? So 11 all flash arrays, for example, to one of our hybrids because of our neural cache technology. So you're getting the same performance, but you took 11 units off the floor to 1 unit. So you cut the cost again. And of course, anytime you consolidate, reduce the power cost, the cooling cost, and the IT resource cost to manage it. So you save all the way. But in an era where flash pricing is so much more expensive than hybrid, you're saving money there. And remember, because you have to pay for the storage, and even our hybrids are more expensive than they used to be 5 years ago, you need money to use for power and cooling as well. So the whole point of this is consolidation not only makes it easier to manage and all the other advantages, but is a huge, tremendous cost play, whether you consolidate to our hybrid array or consolidate from someone else's all flash to ours. Either way, you're going to save a lot of money on your expenses, your CapEx and your OpEx. And that's important these days because pricing has gone through the roof.
Great thought, because the other thing, as you mentioned, is we also have the tools to model. So you don't have to guess at this. We can model your current environment, whether it's hybrids or whether it's all flash, and see what could that consolidation look like to our all flash or all hybrid. Eric, maybe give a little, and you've alluded to this many times, but all hybrids aren't the same. So I think when our customers and prospects go out in the market, I want to challenge them to don't think of, oh, NetApp or Dell EMC or Hitachi has hybrid, so does Infinidat. Give a quick summary specifically. Why is our hybrid different and better than anybody else's hybrid?
It's all about how we lay the data out in our software set, Infuse OS. What we do with our Infinidat technology, what we do with neural cache. That allows us to get a DRAM hit rate, usually in the 95% range or better. Everybody else has DRAM cache too, but they don't have tens of patents about how they optimize that cache layer to, on most IOs, read or write 95% or better coming out of DRAM. So our hybrid arrays, because of that unique software technology, as I said, 75% of the time behave like they're an all flash array, even though they're a hybrid. And the other hybrid arrays just don't have that technology to deliver that. And then, of course, for certain workloads, with our SSA Express software, you leverage that and you literally make sure the app only comes out of flash. So it comes out of DRAM. When it overflows that DRAM, that 5%, 4% that overflows, you're coming out of flash. And we can do all that because the unique software technology of NeuralCache and Infinidat, part of our InfuseOS operating system.
That's a great summary. At the end of the day, what we're saying here is all hybrid isn't the same. We specifically built this company doing something different, making hybrid arrays perform more like an all flash array. And we've been very successful in the market in that perspective. So Rick, the market is a crazy time right now. Supply chain's crazy. Prices are changing every couple weeks with no, foreseeable light at the end of the tunnel. So I think we want to encourage our customers and our prospects and our partners to look to Infinidat because we have both options, whether you need all flash or whether you need a hybrid. And our hybrid is uniquely positioned to perform similar to same than most of our competitors' all flash arrays. So I encourage our teams, our Lenovo teams, our partners, and our customers to actually look that there is another alternative out there to all flash. And that's kind of going back to where success for Infinidat started, is in the hybrid space. So then today we have both, and I think we can really solve some real market and business challenges that our customers and prospects and partners are facing today.